Welcome to the
How's it
show,
going?
Clado. Outstanding. Thanks for being with
Awesome.
us. I'm happy. You know why? Because I'm fucking free.
That
That's
is true.
why. I'm free where it counts. All right, now, I do have to tell you, my thoughts, yeah, lifeboat scenarios are freaking annoying
They're
and
so annoying.
not as useful as a lot of people think they are in debates. And that's why they're annoying.
Yeah, I've been looking at lifeboat scenarios and kind of trying to come at it with some new angle, and I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that we can equate them to like accidents. Like Jan Helfeld uses, oh, if you're stranded in a desert and you need water, were you gonna steal water? Oh, you're immoral. You're breaking your own principles. And that's the annoying part. But like, do you break your principles if you're in an automobile accident? Like you are causing damage to property, like you're not intentionally doing it. So I'm trying to kind of come up with this new solution of putting this together like that.
Well, give me the lifeboat scenario that you heard most recently.
Well, like just with the one with the water, say, oh, I was out hiking with my friends and you got separated.
No. Give me a real lifeboat scenario.
Well, there are no real life boat scenarios. They're just a bunch of bullshit.
No, not a real life one. I mean, like, give me a scenario that actually involves a lifeboat, not a desert. I want lots of water.
Okay, well, maybe lifeboat scenario would be a terminology, I guess.
Okay, so you're thinking more the absurd hypothetical, and most
Correct.
lifeboat scenarios are. But all right, so this was the one in the debate was you're out hiking and you run out of water.
Yeah, so you would steal the water, and then whenever Kinsella actually never would admit that he would steal the water, but David Friedman did. And as soon as he would admit to stealing the water, he would like hammer on him, like, "Oh, you're breaking the non-aggression principle." Then, your whole non-aggression principle folds, and you're being hypocritical to yourself. And I want to point that out, to help you along. And it's kind of pompous the way he says it. It's very annoying. But like,
Do you know the
I
answer to that one? I have an answer to that one. What was Friedman's answer?
he just said, yeah, he would take the water, and then, people wouldn't be really upset. Like there would be no punishment because like
You're stealing water.
you stole some water to stay alive. Like, no one's gonna persecute you for that.
But that was okay, and that's I think that's vaguely the right answer. But you want to hear my crack at this one?
Absolutely.
All right. So I would steal the water. Die or steal the water? Hell yeah, I'd steal the water. Am I violating the non-aggression principle? Yes, I am. And this is why, like I said earlier, the non-aggression principle, while an absolute moral principle, is not an absolute that must be followed at all times or else the sky is going to fall and the universe is going to crumble, No. And I often refer to the Heimlich scenario, right? Because hypothetically, the Heimlich maneuver, when someone's choking, you give them the Heimlich maneuver, you're violating the non-aggression principle because you're assaulting their body and they didn't give you consent. You're going by the assumption that this is going to be okay. You're committing a violation of the non-aggression principle on the assumption that no one in their right mind is going to hold that against you, and that if you cause damage to someone that they want to claim to by virtue of your violation, that you will make up for it. So like, let's say I give someone the Heimlich maneuver, but it turns out they're not choking, and I just break a few of their ribs, right? This is, by the way, I actually got that from Arrested Development. That actually happened to Dr. Tobias Funke, and he lost his medical license as a result of giving a sleeping man the Heimlich maneuver. So if I do that, like if I give someone the Heimlich maneuver and it turns out they're not choking and I break their ribs, I'm taking on a certain amount of risk. So it's not like you said, as an accident. Obviously, that's an accident. I'm not trying to break someone's ribs. I'm trying to help them. But in taking the action of giving someone the Heimlich maneuver, I'm also taking responsibility for my action. So that if they don't accept, if I end up just breaking their ribs, oh crap, does your medical insurance cover that? Hey, let me do what I can to help you out. Let me pay you for the damages. Let me compensate you for the pain and your trouble. And I'm like, you're willing to take that on, right? And that's part of the risk of life. Welcome to the human race. Welcome to interacting with other people. Not every violation of the non-aggression principle or violation of someone's property rights is necessarily intentional. But the answer is not, oh, well, we have to condemn every single thing and pretend that we can eradicate all of it, as much as just acknowledge it for what it is, and then ask people to take appropriate responsibility for their actions. So in the case of water, would I steal the water? Hell yeah. And here's the assumption, and here's how it works out by applying that same logic, which is that if you had water, and it's sort of like, under what circumstances are you stealing it? Are you killing someone in order to take their water?
Yeah.
Are you destroying their life? Are you like going to an abandoned property and drinking some water? Or are you like breaking into someone's home and drinking their water? What is the damage of the theft? So and that's actually very important, right? Because like if I was dying of thirst but I was alive, and I knew I had, not minutes to live, but like hours to live, right? Because if you have minutes to live, you're already passed out. Your brain already stopped working. So yeah. I have hours to live. I know I'm going to die if I don't get some more water. And there's a dude walking down the street, drinking water. Here's the thing. Like if he's just chugging water and spilling it all over the place, and I know am I going to stop? And like he's about to kill this bottle, right? Whatever he's drinking. Am I going to stop him and be like, oh, let me explain my situation. If I don't get water within a few hours, I'm going to die. Please stop splashing that all over the place. No, I'd run up to him and I would grab it. If I could, I would stop him, and that would be the responsible thing to do. But if I couldn't, no, I'd run up and snatch it out of his hand. Would I kill him to do it? Absolutely not. And this is where the relative value is very important. Now, if it was someone who I could convince, like, hey, dude, if you don't give me your water, I'm going to die, then that person would be saying, well, I want you to die. I want to have my water more than I want you to live. To which society would say, fuck you. You are a sick, cruel human being. Yes, you have no moral obligation under the non-aggression principle or self-ownership to give up your water. Fine, you own it. But you are so disgusting that you would allow someone's life to end rather than give up your water. That is cause for a whole other set of nonviolent sanctions. Now, if I go and actually take the water, and what I'm saying is that the cost to you of losing that water is not nearly as valuable as my life. And when you realize that by saving my life, you have created that extra value, you are going to be grateful because I am going to owe you for that, or you are going to be able to say that you saved a life. That the value of that outweighs the consequences or the cost that you're imposing on someone else by stealing the water from them. Now, you could take this the wrong way. You could go like, well, we're stealing from people and we're government because it's for their own good and they're going to be grateful. And in a sense, you would be right. And this is why we have to change the paradigm and wake people up and say, no, stealing is wrong, not as a moral absolute, not under any circumstances, but because this is my stuff and you haven't convinced me that you should be able to steal from me without consequence. Or if you do steal from me, I'm going to demand some compensation. Just like if you stole my water bottle, I'd say, okay, your life is saved. You kind of owe me now, and I hope that you'd at least replace my water bottle with a few extra water bottles, and we can call it even, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, that's well said. I wish Kinsella and or Friedman would have said anything close to that. They would just get all upset, and like it made me feel bad for them. Like that they would almost fall into defeat on such like bullshit.
Well, get me into the debate next time.
Throughout the debate, they could hammer, but when it comes to that, they just kind of fall apart, and Kinsella gets a little agitated and angry, and
you can't do that. I mean, if you like, and I love Kinsella, and on the topic of intellectual property, he's about the best there is in the movement.
Yeah, top dog.
Yeah, no question. I mean, wrote the book, and I was actually very fortunate for him to consult on freedom for the intellectual property section. And when we write the sequel, or one of the sequels that focuses on intellectual property, I know I'm going to be talking to him again. But if you want to put someone forward as an advocate of freedom and self-ownership and the non-aggression principle, you have to have someone that can not only think on their feet, as I'm sure those gentlemen can, but have the emotional grounding to either say I don't know or take the time to give a well-reasoned, thought-out response like I just did. And it's not because I've pre-planned that, and I would hope that my response was a very thorough one, if anything, a little too thorough and long-winded, but that if you really get it, anybody who is a master of the message should be able to do what I just did. And if you can't do what I just did, either you don't have the speaking skills, the thinking skills, or the emotional self-control to be, an advocate that is going to win people's confidence in any situation. And I want to be able to share this with people, and it's not hard. It really isn't. And if you read the book Freedom, I think it'll give you at least the complete rounded understanding to be able to do that. But it takes practice, and it takes a lot of work. And if I may transition to a shameless plug here, for the forums, we have a thread, and what I was thinking of doing was the Freedom Masterclass Workshop. You get to come to the Adam versus the Man studios and hang out for a day and talk freedom, and at the end of the day, you'll have whatever meager talents and skills that I possess transferred to you.
Nice. Well, as freedom goes, I was at the office the other day, and I printed up several copies, and I frequently ride the bus, so
nice.
I leave copies on the bus.
Yes, it's happening. It's happening, baby. I love it. Have you had any response? Have you talked to people to ask them to read it?
I've actually got a couple people to listen to the audio version of it, and well received so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This could be the most viral book in human history.
It's possible.
You believe that?
At least get it up there next to Atlas Shrugged, and we'll be good to go.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned Atlas Shrugged, because I was talking about that with one of my gym buddies this morning, and Atlas Shrugged has gotten to a point where if you're politically inclined, you kind of have to have an opinion on it, but you're not expected to have read it because it's so damn long. And I loved it. I breezed through it. And, I think objectivism is a beautiful philosophy that Ayn Rand captured brilliantly in her books and then misapplied in her analysis of politics and government in so many destructive ways.
I agree.
I mean, if you're an objectivist, you kind of have to be a libertarian, voluntarist, anti-statist of some stripe. I mean, there's just no way around, the square peg that she tried to fit into a round hole justifying minarchism. But that aside, most people have an opinion on it but haven't read it. And that's cool, like they're liberals. Well, you have to have an opinion on Atlas Shrugged, even if you're just a liberal. But it's if freedom gets to that level, it's going to be so much more successful because it's so short. No one,
yeah.
There's not going to be, someone will write a summary, but there's no Cliff's Notes. It's 100 pages. You just freaking read it. It's 3 hours. You just listen to it. Everybody's going to have an opinion on this. And actually, Atlas Shrugged is sort of like my medium goal for the book. My small goal for the book is that it is already achieved, basically. That people like you will pick it up as an effective tool. And that's happening, dude. And I'm just fucking believably psyched and blown away by the response to that being what I thought it was going to be.
That's complicated. I think if somebody had the answer, they'd be a lot better off than I am.